Hey y'all. See, I got my hair done. I like it a lot. Um, how have y'all been? I've been good. I did not do a review or anything like that last week. I just wasn't gonna do it. And I've decided when it comes to Raw and SmackDown, I might be inconsistent with my reviews because hopefully I start work soon. But I might be inconsistent with that. So you're more than likely gonna see me do like a Raw and SmackDown review mixed in with like my women's comments at the end of the week, because I know for sure I can get those out on Fridays or Saturdays. So sorry about that. I hate that. Um, so you might not get them on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but you'll get them for sure. It just I'm gonna start work soon, so I want to put all my energy into that. And despite what people think, watching Raw sometimes does take energy. So yeah. So this is actually gonna be a Raw and SmackDown review plus women's comments slash rumors. So first, let's get into Raw and SmackDown. Raw women's segments: Apollo and Jinder versus Apollo and Ember versus Alicia and Jinder. Lord of mercy. Quick match. Apollo and Ember won. Cool. Um, excuse me. Moment of Bliss talk show with Alexa featuring Ronda. Ronda says there's a woman in the Raw Women's locker room that she wants to prove herself against, her name Sasha Banks. Sasha and Nia do a little back and forth. It was cool. And it's gonna be Sasha versus Nia to determine who fights Ronda at the Royal Rumble for the Raw Women's title. Sasha versus Ronda was a decent match. I was more impressed with Nia than Ronda, not even gonna lie. And Ronda and Sasha won naturally. The spot where Nia was rocking around the outside with Sasha in a gorilla press position and then dropped her onto that little stage box, freaking awesome. Loved that. Um they both did good, but I'm good. I honestly expected for Ronda to go against Sasha at the Rumble, especially since Sasha fans have been begging her to get a shot at the title. And like I said, I don't believe that she and Bayley should be the first ever women's tag champions. So I feel like hopefully this is a way for them to build Sasha up as a singles competitor again, because even though I may not particularly like her, I do think that she is a really good in-ring competitor, and I do think that if built up right, she could be on the same level as Becky and Sasha, because at one point she was above them. So I definitely think if they build her up right, she should get to that level. Me personally, I feel like the boss and her connection should break up. I feel like one of them should go to SmackDown. I feel like Sasha should go to SmackDown and she could easily rebuild herself there. And I feel like Becky and Charlotte should come to Raw. I feel like that would do some wonders for all of their careers. So, but especially Sasha, she needs it the most. But yeah. So I'm excited to see how Ronda versus Sasha's built up. In the SmackDown Women's segments, Mandy is continuing to play mind games with Naomi, and Naomi is continuing to beat the shit out of her. Pretty self-explanatory there. Um, Becky, Charlotte, and Carmella do mini promos stating why they will win the match and why they deserve to be champion. And then Becky versus Charlotte versus Ronda was a really good match. I liked the spots when Becky tossed Charlotte onto Carmella. And when after Charlotte speared Becky, Carmella super kicked her. And I like the spot where Charlotte did the moonsault to the outside. She landed on the floor, and then just to add insult to injury, Carmella kicked the shit out of her. That was freaking hilarious. I love that. So yeah, that was really funny. I like that a lot. Sorry guys. My notes are now on my laptop, so but yeah, I really liked that. It was cool, it was funny. Um so yeah, it was a decent week for the Raw. Um it was decent week. It was a decent week for the women. Oh my God, no. What is you doing? But it was a decent week for the women. And also, let me just explain something to people. I am on Instagram. My name is Princess Kane123. People need to realize something about me. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you in the fucking comments. I'm not. A person that I follow, women's wrestling fans, y'all have heard me talk about her. She posted her top 15 Divas Championship reigns. She put AJ first and Nikki second. I commented, me personally, I would switch AJ and Nikki, but other than that, I agree with your list. And you had multiple people come underneath my comment talking about, oh, AJ came in WrestleMania as champion and left as champion, and oh, Nikki only defended against Paige, and I'm like, those are all fucking booking decisions. That has nothing to do with fucking Nikki or AJ. They were all booked like that. Might I add, Nikki went into Mania as champ and came out as champ too. So did fucking Maurice. Hell, so did freaking Beth Phoenix. So it's like, once again, I'm gonna need for y'all. It's like, it's become this thing. It's like AJ. It's like Becky are the new AJ Lee fans for me. Where if you're not kissing their ass or worshiping the ground they fucking walk on, they will blast and fucking spam your damn mentions. And it's just like, stop. I did not say anything bad about fucking AJ. All I said was, me personally, I would switch AJ and Nikki. And I honestly could have gone into detail about why I would switch AJ and Nikki's reign, and about why I prefer, sorry guys, I'm typing, and about why I prefer Nikki's reign over AJ's reign. I could have honestly done that. But it's like, you guys have to realize not everyone is going to like the person that you like. Not everyone likes Nikki. I know that. But I don't go spamming their fucking mentions when they have a different opinion than me. That's stupid. That's fucking stupid. And it's like, at what point are we going to take off the blinders and let people like who they like? At what point? Because honestly, I could say a lot of shit about AJ that people will not agree with. And I'm perfectly fucking okay with that. There's a lot of shit that people say about Nikki that I don't agree with. And I am perfectly fucking okay with that. But I have an issue is you coming into my comments, spamming my mentions because I prefer Nikki's reign over AJ's reign. In my opinion, both of their reigns helped make the Divas Championship. I was just more invested in Nikki because I've been a fan of Nikki since fucking Diva Search 2006. So naturally, when she was given her chance and she blew her shit out of the park, whether the booking was good, bad, or otherwise, naturally I was more invested in her. That is why, to me, her reign is better. Just like how some people were more invested in AJ because they followed her career since the Indies. I did not say nothing bad about AJ, but I'm gonna start cussing people out in fucking comments if they continue to do the fucking shit. Stop. I didn't say anything bad about AJ. All I said was, me personally, I would switch AJ and Nikki. It's like, stop. Y'all, no. That's one of the biggest reasons why I cannot stand Becky fans. If you say I prefer this over Becky, people will spam your fucking mentions, and it's just like, fuck. Y'all make me hate Becky. Because I can't even say something nice about someone else without y'all bringing in Becky. And it's just like, damn. Can I like multiple people? That's the issue with Becky fans and AJ fans and other fan bases. It's like, can I like other people? Jesus Christ. But I just had to get that out there. Like, y'all continue, like I said in my last video of 2018. Or my Merry Christmas video. I'm not giving a fuck this year. I'm gonna say how I feel. I'm gonna start cussing people out in fucking comment sections if they continue to do this shit. I am. But let's get on with this. This is comments and rumors. This may be a hot take, but I don't know if I want Bayley and Sasha to be the first women's tag champions when those belts returns. Though they've been a bit lost, they've also each have had individual reigns, successful or not, and their status as part of the women's brand of the women's evolution is well established. I'd much rather see Fire and Desire, which is Sonya and Mandy, or the Iconics be the first to win the belts, going over either Lita and Trish or Sasha and Bayley in the finals. Now, me personally, I agree with the first part, but not the second part, and I've already explained that. Me personally, and I'm going to continue to say it, and I'm not going to switch up on it, Nikki and Brie deserve to be the first ever women tag champions. They do. And I personally feel like the Iconics or the Y Squad or whoever the hell else wins the title off of a face Bellas, and that will be their retirement storyline, would be a much bigger accomplishment, and it would make their careers even bigger than to have the Bellas win it off of them. And once again, the Iconics, the Bellas, and Trish and Lita have all said they want some type of match with them together. So, in my personal opinion, a great way to use Trish and Lita at WrestleMania, plus the Bellas, plus the Iconics, plus Sasha and Bayley, as I said before, if built right, is a fatal four-way. Those four teams could help start off the women's tag titles. The Bellas win out at WrestleMania because despite what people believe, the Bellas do deserve a WrestleMania moment together. They do. And they do deserve to be the first ever women's tag champions. That's undeniable. I don't give a fuck. The Bellas win. They have a good, like, 3 month, however long reign. Have the Iconics beat the Bellas. And then, if built right, have the Iconics beat the Bellas. Have that be the Bellas' retirement storyline until WWE wants them to come back. And then have Sasha and Bayley, if built right, beat the Iconics. That right there is a perfect... That right there, if built right, would be the perfect first 3 women champions. Would be the perfect first 3 women tag championship reigns. But if booked right. And yeah, that's my opinion on that. And then a rumor is that the women tag titles could appear as early as the Royal Rumble. I don't think they mean match wise. I think they mean like, you know, the appearance of them, like showing what they're gonna look like and all that. So, which I said that before. I said the perfect way to introduce the women tag titles would be for them to appear at the Royal Rumble and then have that be the build up to WrestleMania. Have a tournament or whatever. I said that before. So, and apparently they might have side plates, which I love because Nikki already has side plates and a lot of these women already have side plates. So, I was cool with that. Someone said, I think, Someone said, I think the Bellas would be a obvious choice of heels if Vince was going to troll us. The Bellas are established veterans to the division. They bring experience, mainstream, and Nikki is a great in-ring general in situations like this. I could easily have the Bellas, the Iconics, and Sasha help build the women's tag division. And I totally agree. Like I said, I don't mind Sasha and Bayley being women tag champions. But I don't want them to be the first ever women tag champions. And like I said, with their dynamics right now and all of that, the Bellas, I feel like, would be perfect first women tag champions. Heel Iconics take it off of the face Bellas and send them into retirement. And then the face Sasha and Bayley take it off of the heel Iconics. That is a perfect 3. That is the perfect 3 first women tag champion reigns for me. It is. If booked right. Someone said Nia and Tamina are another good pairing that won't be forced. I fully expect the Bellas to compete for those as they should, and Trish and Lita may be challenging for them at Mania, given the rumors that they're working together at that show. And someone said this: I don't think Sasha and Bayley should win the titles until SummerSlam. And I fully agree. I fully agree. I think that Sasha, and I fully agree with that. Like I said before, I feel like the Bellas could easily have a great, 2-month, 3-month reign with the belts, defending them on Raw and SmackDown and a few pay-per-views, and then dropping it to the Iconics, and then Sasha and Bayley finally get their SummerSlam moment together at winning the belts at SummerSlam. Like I said, those 3 teams would be a perfect way to help build the women tag titles if booked right. Like I said, literally all these comments are proving what I'm saying is true. The Bellas being the first women tag champions helped set the foundation and the prestige of what those belts really mean. Very similar to a Michelle McCool, very similar to a Charlotte Flair being the first women's champion of the new era, very similar to Paige being the first NXT women's champion. To be the first of something, that person needs to be established. They need to be accomplished. They need to bring everything that like a Rock or Cena would bring. And as much as people hate to admit it, in this era, the Bellas are that. Sasha and Bayley have the ability to be that, but they're not there yet. The Bellas are there, and they've been there since 2014. So, 2013, really. So why not use them to your advantage, especially when multiple people want matches with the Bellas for the tag titles, and I guarantee you no one backstage would be pissed off about it. Smarks seem to act like their hatred for the Bellas is everyone's hatred for the Bellas. No. Just like people think that people hate Nicki Minaj. No, that's online. That's not in the real world. In the real world, people love Nicki Minaj just like they love the Bellas. The Bellas are 2 people that I guarantee you no one backstage would be pissed off if they would be the first ever women's tag champions. I guarantee you no one would be pissed off about it. No one. So yeah. Like I said, I feel like those 3 teams would be a perfect way to build the women tag scene. The perfect way. But that's just me. And this is about Charlotte versus, this is about the main event of WrestleMania, basically. Someone said that the match needs to be a triple threat. We're talking about the main event of WrestleMania, and the first main event and the first women's match to get that opportunity. It has to deliver. The only non-stip matches that Becky has had that were classic were with Sasha or Charlotte. We don't know that her and Ronda can pull off a classic by themselves. Charlotte is a much sure bet, and splitting the match 3 ways allows for a more memorable matchup. Plus, I'm never going to root for Rousey against the man, and most fans won't. But I don't see them turning Rousey until 2 things happen. 1, she gets more seasoning in the ring as a storyteller, which is a big thing because the reason why Ronda's matches have been so good is because they literally work with her for a week before the actual match. And when Nikki and Charlotte, they didn't even have a full week. They had a weekend. And Nikki and Charlotte are in-ring generals. And Charlotte isn't good with green workers, but she's good in high stakes situations, whereas Nikki is good with everyone, and especially in green workers, and she could call something on the fly like that. So that's why those matches worked with them in such short notice, whereas with Nia, with Triple H and Stephanie, with Alexa, they practice for weeks on those matches. And they're going to have to probably do a couple months with Becky and Ronda because, as much as people hate to admit it, Becky's in-ring work, it ain't up to par like they like to think. But anyway, back to this. And 2, The other three MMA horsewomen are ready for the main roster, or they may never turn her because of mainstream appeal. The lead up may be better with just Becky and Ronda, but I guarantee that the match itself will be better with all three women involved. And I agree. I always felt that I always felt that Ronda versus Charlotte would be the first ever women's main event. Especially when Ronda was signed to the company, I figured, oh, that's a shoe-in. And especially when they went Nikki versus Ronda for Evolution instead of Ronda versus Charlotte, I'm like, oh, that's the main event. Cool. Then Becky became hot the last 4 months of 2018, and she was added. But I never expected them to take Charlotte out of that match. I just expected them to add Becky. I never expected them to take Charlotte out. And I feel like a lot of Becky's delusional fans, not all of her fans, some of her delusional fans, expected for WWE to take Charlotte out. Like, no. That was never going to happen. And then the page that I was talking about, women's wrestling fans, she did something on Instagram, and it's asks questions, and she's like, when do you think Nikki will be back from healing her neck? And she said very soon. I think around Royal Rumble she will return with Brie. I mean, they have to be the first women's tag champs, right? And I agree. And then someone said, I always say it, the Bellas are a product of an era of women's wrestling that WWE are embarrassed to talk about, and that's being the Divas era. It's not the Bellas' fault, it's just the timing. And I agree, but the Bellas are two people that don't mind saying, I was a diva, I was proud to be a diva, and I made being a diva be awesome, which they did. So it may be an era that WWE may want to forget, but lots of people remember that era, and lots of people actually do like that era. It's just some of the shit that happened in that era that pissed us off, not the whole era itself. It's some shit that happened in the era, because a lot of good things actually did happen in that era. It's just some shit bad also happened in the era, but that could be said for every era, including this one. Cage Side Seats, someone posted a article about how we can be better fans. I love that article. You guys should go check it out. And then someone said that the Royal Rumble card was originally going to feature Ronda versus Charlotte, but that was changed to Rousey versus Sasha. And I figured as much, especially if they're going to have Charlotte in the main event. The only reason why Charlotte was even a part of Survivor Series was because Becky got injured. But I always figured that Charlotte was going to be involved in some way, shape, or form. I just didn't know how. But I'm actually happy that they're going to do Charlotte versus Sasha, because that's something that we have not seen. And I know that just like with Nikki, that's a match that Ronda's always wanted. So I was cool with that, and I'm happy that they're not doing Charlotte and Ronda again. That way, once they do go against each other in the hopefully triple threat match, it's still kind of fresh and new in a way. And the reason for the change is the triple threat being considered for WrestleMania. And I'm like, no shit, that was a obvious thing. I always felt that that was the match that should be the women's main event of WrestleMania. Me personally, my dream women's main event would be Sensational Sherri versus Melina versus Trish Stratus versus Nikki Bella. That's me personally. But of this era of the right now, I feel like those three would be perfect. And I feel like all three of them need to be involved. All three. And I'm not going to hold my tongue on that. I'm done holding my tongue on Becky because her fans want to be assholes. I'm done. Katie Lee, who is a female wrestler who I love, follow her on Twitter. She said, probably an unpopular opinion, but if you think you need a championship to be a star or get over, then you're probably not worthy of holding it. I don't know, but like it should come down to you, not a belt. Something about you. Something about it's you who makes the belt, not the belt making you. And I agree. John Cena has said that before. Nikki has said that before. And I feel like that's also another reason why I don't want Sasha and Bailey to win the tag champions, because they only started campaigning a couple weeks ago because they don't have a championship. Those are two women that feel like if they don't have a championship, they're not doing anything. And I don't want my first women tag champions, who, by the way, haven't really been booked as a tag team like that for real, and a whole bunch of other shit, only want the title because they don't have the main title. Like, I don't want that. I want the first ever women's tag champions to have been campaigning for this, to have been working hard for this, to be a established tag team, to want this to be built up for the worth of the division, not just for themselves. And I feel like the Bellas and the Iconics are perfect examples of that. But between them, I feel like the Bellas should have that honor. And I feel like that with multiple people. I felt like, you know, sometimes with Paige, I felt like if she wasn't champion, she wasn't putting in as much work. Sometimes I felt that with Bree. Sometimes I felt that with AJ. Sometimes I felt that with Becky. Sometimes I felt that with Sasha. Sometimes I felt that with Lita, Trish, and I felt that way about everyone at some point. But I feel like if you think that you need a championship to make you a star, then you aren't a real star. And I feel like that's something that goes over people's heads. And I feel like people should listen to when wrestlers like John Cena, Nikki Bella, Stone Cold, The Rock, people that have been in the business and have been on top and are stars to the company, legends to the company, they should listen to them instead of being like, oh, you're John Cena, oh, you're Nikki, oh, you blah, blah, blah. Like, no, listen to them. They know what they're talking about. Like I said before, Nikki was in nothing but side feuds since her return. She literally only touched the title at Backlash, where she focused on her storyline with Carmella the most, and the Fatal 5-Way afterwards, where again she focused on Carmella the most, and she was the one pinned, and the storyline with Ronda, who we knew was going to win. Other than that, Nikki hasn't touched the title, but she's still been relevant and she's still been able to put on great storylines and give great matches without a belt. Her star still shined. She was still able to sell merch, keep the crowd's attention, get mainstream and all that without being in the title picture for damn near 2 fucking years. Same thing with Brie. So I feel like if you can't do that, then maybe you don't need a belt. Maybe you need to establish your star power first and then get the belt. Because your star power is what's going to help the belt, not the other way around. Same thing with John Cena. John Cena was Dr. Thugonomics for a couple years before he won the belt. And when he didn't have the belt, he was still a fucking star. Same thing with Stone Cold, with Booker T, Triple H. They didn't need belts to make them stars. They made the belt a star with the belt being on them, you know? So that, I do definitely agree with that. And then this may get some people pissed off, but I don't care. Becky's work, because someone basically said that Becky doesn't get enough in-ring work with her credit, and that Becky versus Ronda would be great. And someone said Becky's ring work is mediocre. That's why she can't be alone in the main event. Because they're like, Becky's ring work is so great, she's better than Charlotte, and she would be a great one-on-one with Ronda. And this was the response. They said Becky's ring work is mediocre. That's why she can't be alone in the main event, especially with Ronda. Charlotte should be involved too, to make sure the match is going to be awesome. Becky may be strong in character and attitude, but wrestling-wise, she can't have a WrestleMania main event caliber match without Charlotte. And I agree. I agree. I'm sorry. At least with Charlotte, like, I've never been a huge fan of the Four Horsewomen. I respect them as talents, but I've never been like, oh, they saved women's wrestling. I was never that person. I could always see people's appeal in Sasha and in Charlotte, and sometimes even in Bayley down in NXT. I could never see what people saw in Becky Lynch, wrestling-wise. People always put over her wrestling and all that. I never saw it. And then when she was given chances, a lot of times it was with Sasha and Charlotte, And I was more impressed with Sasha and Charlotte in the matches. So it's like when you have a history of your other opponents doing most of the work, for you, you can't be alone with the new person, and with Ronda Rousey especially, in the first ever women's main event of WrestleMania. And just because your character is great and people are loving you now, like, no, no. So I definitely agree with that. I'm wondering why everyone is opposed to the triple threat at WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure the original plan was always supposed to be Ronda versus Charlotte at Mania, which I said. But then Becky came in strong in the later half of 2018, which again I said. I hope that Becky wins, which I would not mind. But Charlotte has done nothing to not deserve being in the main event of WrestleMania, which I also agree with. Charlotte, in my opinion, is what helped make Becky. Without her storyline being connected to Charlotte, Becky would not become the man, in my opinion. Sorry. And someone else said my thoughts exactly. It was never about Becky. The real big match was Ronda and Charlotte. For people to hate and replace Charlotte with Becky when Charlotte did nothing bad but put Becky over to her level and delivering amazing performances is delusional, which I agree with. Becky would not be where she is, especially in the past 4 months, without Charlotte. And I'm not going to take that back. I'm sorry, I'm not. Becky has done really good and helped putting herself over, but Charlotte, in my opinion, has done more of the legwork than people realize. People think they don't want to give Becky a one-on-one with Ronda, while they could have easily done that at the Rumble and make Charlotte the only left opponent. I am a Charlotte fan and I want the triple threat since I think Becky deserves it too. But for her to steal Charlotte's place is not good. And I do agree with that. I do agree with that. I do think that Charlotte has earned the right to be in the women's triple threat match at WrestleMania. And I do not think that Becky fans, because they're now all in tune with Becky and all in love with Becky, that means that we just throw Charlotte away. Like Charlotte wasn't always going to get the match with Ronda in the first goddamn place. Like, no. And once again, especially when you compare in-ring work and all that, I feel like they all need each other in that match to make it the best it could possibly be. Especially with how the story has been going. I feel like they all need to be in that match, not just one or the other. All of them. And I'm not even a fan of any of them like that. But if they're the three considered to be the first ever women's main event of WrestleMania, it needs to be all of them, not just Becky. I could even take, yeah. But that's all I got for you guys. I'm not going to do a review of NXT UK. Their takeover, I'm not going to do a review of that because I haven't been keeping up with it like that. And at least with NXT, regular NXT, I could follow the storylines really easily. But I will be watching. So yeah. I will be starting up with my match reviews soon. Like I said, those will start being more random. I will be starting up with those soon. So, look out for those. I will do, however, a review for regular NXT TakeOver, and I will also do a review for the Women's Royal Rumble. So, and also it's going to be Ronda and Sasha, and then Alexa and Lord have mercy, and then Asuka and Becky. So I think that both Becky and Sasha are going to be pulling double duty, which I'm fine with, So that's all I have for you guys. I'm about to eat lunch, take off my eyeshadow because I just came